What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another Tottenham update for you guys. Just 4 things on the list today. We're talking about mainly centre-backs, and we're starting off with Piero Hincapie. We are here with Ash Matic once again. Big up. And this is from The Athletic, Charlie Eccleshare, and he says Tottenham will still look at a higher quality first-choice left-sided centre-back, even if Clement Longley joins the club on a permanent deal, and Bayer Leverkusen's Piero Hincapie remains a target for the club. I mean, we were speaking on the previous update about how much we rate him. He'll be a great addition, wouldn't he? Almost perfect.
Yeah, he would bring as I said before, balance. You've got one ball playing centre back, and you've got one that can bring it out. He also does an underlap and run, so he runs into the half spaces, runs off the ball really good. Dribbling accuracy is really good as well. And then defensively, front-footed, someone that likes to tackle, very high up in the metrics in terms of the top world footballers in terms of defending. He's up there. So someone that's going to be a completely different profile to what we have at the moment. Yeah.
I was watching him quite closely at the World Cup, and I noticed he's still obviously very young, so he's still quite a raw talent. Do you think if he was to come in to us next season, straight away he goes into the first team, one of the first names on the team sheet alongside a Christian Romero?
I say why not, but the only reason why I'd say why not is because he's been playing at top team. Do you know what I mean? It's not like he's been playing European football. He played at the World Cup. It depends on the coach, to be fair, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
And I think these type of players suit more possession-based football, more front-footed football. If you're higher up the pitch, they're going to be higher up. They're going to win the balls higher up as well. They're going to be less exposed in terms of timing those challenges. I think these players really need to be in a system, in a coach as well, that really trusts them and can able to put an arm around them and say, look, this is what I need you to do. Do you know what I mean? And I think there's enough experience in that back line to allow him to start. Do you know what I mean? Because we haven't really got someone of that profile that can bring it out from the back. He's quite fast as well. He's not slow. He's not a slow coach.
Yeah.
So if balls are coming long and over the top, he's able to kind of recover. And we need someone of his speed and his kind of chemistry, his characteristics. Sorry.
Do you think that him and Romero could play in a back four together, those as the two centre backs?
I need to see Hincapie a bit more, only because the sample size that I saw of him on the World Cup, I agree with you, was a bit raw when I did watch him, and he did have 1 or 2 mistakes in him. So I wonder if this season that's been coached out of him a little bit. So I wouldn't mind seeing another player alongside him. So I'm not sure if he would be in a back two straight away. Someone with a bit more experience. When you're playing with someone that's young, I still think Romero's quite young in terms of experience. I would like to have an experienced defender alongside him, just to kind of, someone like well, we're going to get onto him, but someone that's more experienced alongside him, just to kind of manage it.
All right, let's move on and let's talk about Marc Guehi, a player that we've been linked with so many times now over the past year and a half. Santi Ayuna is claiming that Crystal Palace are open to the departure of Marc Guehi, and Tottenham have made inquiries about his situation. I mean, he did have quite a bad performance. I think it was in the first game against Crystal Palace. We got them this year. I think he got completely spun. I can't remember who it was from. Maybe it was from Sonny. I can't remember who it was, but I do remember quite a poor performance. But every other time I do see him playing a Crystal Palace shirt, I am quite impressed. Would you like to see him at Spurs?
You know what? It's funny. I've done a comparison between the two, and I was going to send it to you actually, but I didn't.
Cheers, mate.
He actually, I know, right? When it comes to tackles and interceptions, he's not far off Hincapie. In fact, he actually betters him in a lot of metrics.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, I was surprised. I thought Hincapie would be he actually outscores him.
What kind of metrics are you talking about? Right.
I'm talking about passing, possession metrics. I'm talking about actual defending as well, actual defending metrics. My problem with him when I looked at him is his concentration. So Being a defender, you just need to know where to be, and you need to be able to smell the danger and positional awareness. And then, especially on set pieces, he's gone wanting. I've seen him a few times, um, just like switch off, and then also mistakes per game. That hasn't been as impressive, and that's something that we always look at Spurs. Like for our defenders, you know, they've got a mistake in them or two, and that's something he needs to improve on, I think. But in terms of bringing the ball out from the back, really, really good, and he can switch to play if need be. He's slightly better than Hincapie in terms of passing accuracy, medium to short and to long term passing. He's actually beats him on that metric as well. He's got all the attributes. He's got the physicality that he needs as well for a left sided centre back. So he could possibly, he's played in the back too. So he could possibly play in the back too. I don't know if he's ready to jump in right away. I still think another experienced player alongside Romero. But again, if you're in a front-footed team and you're having possession, he's someone that can recover the ball. He has the pace, he's got the legs, he's young, ticks all the boxes. He just needs to be coached and a manager that trusts in him, and that's what it comes down to. And he's not doing a bad job under Hodgson, because Hodgson's taken over recently, and
Yeah.
the performances have picked up, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, they most definitely have. And at 22 years of age, I mean, you do expect those kind of mistakes in your game, what you're talking about, all the negatives that you're talking about with Mark Guehi. I mean, you do expect that from a centre-back, especially in the Premier League at 22 years of age, don't you?
Yeah, you do. And the only other couple players that I probably would look at, which are maybe could be available, might be someone like Colwill from Brighton, that's on loan from
No
Chelsea. He's got
chance.
the
No
height.
chance.
He's got the height. He's got physicality. He's really good on the ball. He just needs a full season, because at the moment Mark Gray still out muscles him in terms of metrics. He floors him. He actually floors. I was
Really?
surprised because I looked at Colwill. Yeah, Mark Gray is really, when it comes to like stats, statistical data, in terms of defending, he's one of the best. He even outdoes Tamari. Like, if people
That's
think
mad.
Tamari's good,
That's mad. You wouldn't think that,
I
would
couldn't
you?
believe it.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it as well. He kept outscoring. I was comparing him to defenders that we've been linked with, and he just keeps outscoring. Um, he keeps outscoring, and especially in terms of defensive attributes, tackling, interceptions, blocking, things that we all want from our defenders. He's up there, and I don't know if it's because Crystal Palace concede a lot of possession, and because they were in the bottom half of the table, that's the reason why he's had to deal with so much. Maybe that's why the metrics are so high. But yeah, he outscores a lot of defenders. Yeah.
It's really interesting. But let's talk about the next one. Aymeric Laporte of Manchester City. I think he's only started like 4 games since the World Cup, which is crazy for someone of that quality. And Paul Hurst of The Times says a number of clubs, including Barcelona and Tottenham, are monitoring Laporte's situation at Man City. And I mean, if this guy's available and would come to Spurs, this is a no-brainer, isn't it? It's an absolute no-brainer.
What's that, Barcelona?
Barcelona can't afford him anyway.
Why are we even talking? Yeah, you know what's funny as well? Pep, obviously, you know how he was longing out Kane as well. Like, Pep obviously picked up the phone to what's it called, Levy, and like Levy was like, "Who's that, Pep?" He's like, "All right, hold on, I'm gonna call you back." He saved his number. Pep been trying to phone him, he just ignored his phone calls. So now it's the other shoes on the other foot. We're trying to call Man City for one of their players. Don't be surprised if we don't get paid. But yeah, you know what? Like, Laporte is exactly the player I was talking about. Someone that
Yeah.
has a bit more experience, a bit more knowledge, very calm. He could work in the back too. Someone that can complement Romero. Doesn't go down, to ground too easily as well. That just shows his class, his patience, his timing, and his ability to kind of jockey a defender. And that's someone we need desperately in our defence, especially if we're going to go play front-footed. He hasn't got the pace as some of the other players that I've looked at, like Lukeba from, I think he's from, is it Lyon? Lukeba is really, really, really good player. I really like. Again, a youngster, 19-year-old, but again, phenomenal speed, recovery, good at tackling, wins challenges, interceptions, reads the data, good in the air. athletic, can bring the ball out from the back, can actually switch the play. He's got all the metrics that you want. But in terms of like possession play, obviously he's come from the school of Pep.
Yeah.
So Laporte is going to be, he ranks the highest in terms of being on the ball, you know, making things happen. He's got it. Touches as well on the ball. He's the highest. Even though he hasn't played as much, he ranks one of the best.
At 28 years of age, apparently on Transfermarkt, he's only got a market value of 30 million euros, where he had a career high of 75 million euros in 2019. I mean, that represents such unbelievable value because, I mean, Laporte is a player who I think is one of the best centre-backs in the Premier League, and he can't get a look in at Man City, which is crazy to think about. So, I mean, do you think it's possible? Do you think this is even a possibility, or are we wasting our time here talking about it?
Nothing's impossible. You can always could try for it. I mean, if there's a reason why it's come up. Obviously, the amount of years he's got in his contract is obviously coming down. So maybe Man City eyeball they've got someone in their ranks or in their academy they're looking to push through. So that's the reason why he might be surplus to requirement, or maybe it's something that Pep is kind of moving away from. It might be a different type of style of player that he's got in his eye, and that could be to our game. So I'm not going to rule it out completely. We're linked with him, so hopefully there is truth to this rumor, because he would be a top player if we could get him.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's finish off the update and let's talk about Lucas Moura now. Spurs official broke the news last night. Lucas Moura will leave Tottenham Hotspur at the end of the season. He did a video on the Spurs socials crying his eyes out, saying how much he loves the club. I don't know if you saw it, Ash, but it actually did move me a little bit. And Romano also says that Lucas Moura will assess his options after decision to leave Tottenham as a free agent. Saudi, MLS and Italian clubs have approached Lucas over a potential free transfer. So what's your assessment of Lucas Moura's time at Spurs?
Oh, it's a mixed bag, isn't it? Because, he's had so many inconsistencies. He has the potential to be a well-beater at times. Yeah. His explosiveness was phenomenal. And he'd have runs where he would just score back-to-back, in games. He looked like the player that he brought in. I remember when we first bought him, I couldn't believe it. The amount of fans that were pissed off that they didn't get him. And I was so gassed. I was like, yes, finally, Lucas Moura, we've got like someone that can keep the mill out on the bench, you know what I mean? I just thought it was a real upgrade at the time, and it was just a shame just the way it just didn't really work out. How he was a bit, like I said before, inconsistent. But the thing I remember about him, his unbelievable spring off the floor, his ability in the air was amazing. He was really good at headers, and a bit like Jermaine Defoe, his low center of gravity and his ability to kind of explode, like his short spaces, his acceleration, just to get away from players. That's what I really liked about him. And he was really good at dribbling, beating players, and his finishing wasn't too bad either to go along with it. But it was just like decision making. I think that's what really let him down. It was like sometimes he'd run into areas where there was bodies instead of running away from players. And sometimes it worked out for us, and sometimes, or a lot of the time, it didn't. And the thing I love about him was his passion. He never ever stopped going for Spurs. He played for the shirt. He played for the shirts, 100%. Yeah. And when he started crying, man, like, I'm not gonna lie, I felt a bit sad. And then I remembered that Everton performance. Go.
Not just the Everton one, the Liverpool one as well, back to back.
The Liverpool one, it always just came back. I was like, yeah, it's time to go.
No, I think that's absolutely spot on. It's obviously time to go for Lucas Moura, and it's a shame the way it ended as well with those last two performances. But I hope he does get a good send-off this weekend. It will be his last game at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium tomorrow against Brentford. I'm sure he'll come on at the end just to say his goodbyes to the fans. But I mean, you're always going to remember that night in Amsterdam. That's going to live with us forever. But apart from that, I mean, he did always flatter to deceive, really. I mean, there were a couple of games here and there at Old Trafford. He scored a couple of goals. Huddersfield at home, he scored a hat-trick off the top of my head. But he always performed better in the Champions League than he did in the Premier League consistently, but he just never gave us like consistently enough, in my opinion, and it was a big shame because he's got high quality. But his passion, like you said, was always there. Bleed blue and white, and I think, as he said, he's going to be a Tottenham fan for the rest of his life while he was bawling his eyes out. So thanks for the memories, Lucas, but it is time to say goodbye. Hopefully we can bring in an adequate replacement in the summer. But Ash, thank you so much for joining us today, and tell everyone where they can find you, apart from on the watch along tomorrow.
Oh yeah, you can find me at the Southview Boys at a stand from the view. Yeah, you can see me down there on YouTube. If you just check me out, guys. We're gonna do a post match after the game as well, around 8 o'clock. So yeah, guys, it's me, Hassan Marlon. Yeah, man, we've got some content coming through as well. Really soon. I've got some things I want to push off. I'm not gonna say too much, but yeah, we're gonna see a lot more from us in the coming weeks.
Big up. Looking forward to it. So everyone do go subscribe there. It's a bit of a Southview COYS takeover tomorrow on the watch along with Marlon and Ashmatic taking over. But big up to you, Ashmatic. Big up to you all out there. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.